You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thanks for checking out this archived episode of the Ticket Stub. Connor here, one of the hosts of the show. I'm doing this while Dick is away. Guys, I know that y'all love the show, but I know that he is the worst part. I'm trying to find another co-host, so if any of y'all have any ideas, please let me know. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, all at the Ticket Stub Podcast. You can send us an email at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at the Ticket Stub. And be sure to listen live every Thursday on irlonestar.com or FM 104.5 and 106.1 in the Conroe area. Thanks and enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Ticket Stub, Connor and Dick, episode 8. Happy to be back with y'all again today to talk about movies. We got a packed show today.
Woo!
Dick, come on, baby. Bring in the energy. We had a week off. So Dick's got some pent-up energy coming in this week. There he is. Dick, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good.
I missed you, buddy.
Me?
Yeah.
I miss you too.
I know. Did our listeners miss us?
It's good to see you.
We're almost close enough to touch hands.
We're reaching.
It's very sweet. Well, I hope everybody was able to make do without us last week. Sorry about that. My fault. Out of town. You know, it is what it is. But we're glad to be back. And because of such, we've got a lot to talk about today. So just give you a quick rundown. We're going to talk a little movie news. Black Panther teaser trailer came out for the new Marvel movie. We also are going to do some rewinding. Couple movies to quickly rush through, and then we're going to spend some serious time talking about Me Before You. Excited about that. That's a movie that Dick and I assigned each other. It was Dick's punishment for losing the game a couple weeks ago and my punishment for picking a movie that wasn't available for us to watch. And it got pretty emotional. Got pretty dusty.
Are we doing that now?
No, we're not doing it now.
Okay,
No, I'm sorry.
I could talk about that movie all day.
We could spend the whole hour. Doing Me Before You.
I almost wanted to do my own commentary track and post it to the podcast so you can watch it while listening to me talk about it.
Gosh, the only thing that would make it better is if I had you commenting over.
Well, that's the next step with the Ticket Stub.
Is starting to do commentaries.
Yeah.
I feel like that
stubby commentary.
That really needs to happen. A little stubby commentary. And then top 5, we're going to try to look at some top 5 hardcore leading ladies in honor of Wonder Woman. I got my girl power going pretty hard right now. I'm feeling pretty feminist. So we're going to look at top 5 hardcore leading ladies. And then at the end of the show, we've got a ticket giveaway. Now, there is a little bit more time. If you want to sneak under the wire here, you can go to our Facebook, Ticket Stub Podcast. There's a trivia question posted. Guys, we are giving away 2 free, no strings attached tickets to the Grand Theater to go see any movie that you'd like to see. And so, this is just money in the bank right now, okay? This is just free cash. So if you haven't already entered in, you go to the Ticket Stub Podcast, find the question, and send the answer to our email, ticketstubpodcast@gmail.com, and you will be entered with a chance to win. And someone is winning those tickets by the end of the show today. Special thanks to Chris Appel and the Grand Theater. So anyways, I wanted to start by talking. We like to start off with a little movie news. The Black Panther. Dick, you said you know a little bit, not much about the Black Panther. What do you know?
I know the comic book.
Okay.
But the movie that I guess you said there was a trailer or something like that. I had no idea a trailer was announced. I saw a poster.
Yeah.
And it looked really bad.
They dropped this last week. They dropped a teaser, the first teaser trailer for the Black Panther. Okay, Dick, tell me a little bit about, because Marvel's getting to this point where they're starting to pull these characters that I don't even know. I'm not a comic book guy. I'm not a real superhero nerd kind of guy.
Well, there's a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And to me, what they did, and this is unfortunate, like when the comic books were created, diversity really wasn't the main focus of creating these characters.
Wasn't such a pillar of the 1950s or whatever.
It wasn't the pillar of the 1950s, 60s, and all that kind of stuff. So my guess is they literally sat down and they wanted to be PC, and it's like we have to create these characters to be known by everybody. And that's why the Black Panther got kind of thrown in the front because of his race. That's my theory on it.
So he wasn't.
But he's good. He's a good character and has a very interesting background. But like in the universe,
was he pretty small?
He was part of it. He was just part of the group.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hawkeye.
Okay.
Like, he's not like the main dude. He's not an Iron Man, but he's just part of the group.
Okay, so we can look forward to like all sorts of politically correct superheroes coming out in the next few years.
Oh yeah.
Okay, maybe like a transgender superhero. Who even knows? The possibilities
I
are
think
endless.
they actually like did one of those.
Did they?
Like full out. I think they did. I'm not really sure. I gotta see what they actually came out. I know they did a homosexual character. I knew that. And
Who was that?
I have to look it up. Like they actually created a character like within the 5 years from today for that reason.
Oh, really?
I know. I'm pretty sure they did. Let me look it up.
Okay, look it up. Anyways, Black Panther teaser trailer. If you haven't seen it, you should. And a lot of people, Dick. This was the this. I don't know what this stat's really worth, but this was this is the top 3 most viewed trailers for Marvel in the first week. For all the movies they've released, this one was like one of the most viewed. That's part of why it made news was how popular it was. And so I guess what I got from it, I watched it a couple times. I guess there's like a secret part of Africa that no one knows about where they like fly spaceships and like have blaster guns and stuff. I don't really know. I don't really know, but I guess this guy is like the king of Africa or something. He was in one of the other Avenger movies, right? He was in the Civil War, maybe the Captain America one, or he was in one of these other movies that they introduced Black Panther. But this is, I guess, all about his.
Yeah, that was the 3rd Captain America movie, Civil War.
Okay, 3rd Captain America. But I guess that there's a part of Africa that no one has known about, and he has found some sort of secret that unlocks all this technology.
Well, what I can't wait is when they go into the Infinity Stone timeline, which involves like Doctor Strange, which is magic basically, and no one like. Remember we talked about Doctor Strange last time, and it was like it's kind of one of those concepts that the general population would be like, wait a second. I kind of just got over the mutant thing, and I just got.
Now we're in magic.
Now we're in magic, and then when we go to the Infinity Stone.
When does it tie to Harry Potter? At what point?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's gonna get the Infinity Stone saga. It's really crazy to think about the limitations they built with Iron Man, because that was only on Earth, and then when they did the new movie or the newest Avengers movie, they kind of created like there's the aliens. There are aliens now, and these aliens are technology and all this stuff, and now the Infinity Stone, very similar. It's like mysterious powers, and you learn because like Vision, he has an Infinity Stone in him. So does the Scarlet Witch. She has an Infinity Stone, and then it goes further deeper, like especially with the Guardians of the Galaxy, because they're the first ones that introduced what an Infinity Stone was.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna learn a lot, and people are gonna be like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, I'm getting super confused. I've seen every one of the movies, but just casually, like as a fan of movies, and I'm getting very confused. But I went to Africa a couple months ago. My experience wasn't that there was a super secret civilization of advanced warfare, but maybe that was the part that I didn't go see. Maybe that was like one of the other countries. But anyways, I did Michael B. Jordan alert though. You know him from Creed and from all those movies. He is going to apparently be in this. He has like a 1-second part in the trailer, so I was excited about that. And they've got some dudes with like the lip plates, and they got all sorts of tribal guys. So that I do think what could be cool about this is that Africa is usually not portrayed very well in movies. I was thinking about like Blood Diamond, Hotel Rwanda, Black Hawk Down,
Gladiator.
Yeah,
Amistad.
Usually Africa kind of comes off as a terrible spot. This movie, maybe it'll redeem Africa a little bit. Maybe it'll have a little, a little positive spin. I'll see it for sure. Black Panther, he seems like he could be a cool superhero. And, it's good to not just have another middle-aged whitey out there. Get a little diversity in our superhero team. So that'll be good. I'd encourage everybody to watch the trailer. It's like 2 minutes long. But especially if you love superheroes, if you love all the Marvel movies, this is going to be another one of 1,000 more to come.
Yeah, well, I mean, to go to a little history of it, he was in the first comic he appeared was the Fantastic Four in 1966. He was the first black superhero in the mainstream American comics. But then I'm trying to find out when he actually had his first feature comic. I'm trying to find that because, let's see, 1976 was I think the first comic.
So even in the comics, would they start with these guys being like supporting cast and then spin them off?
Yeah, really, what they would do, they'd be kind of like Action Comics was like I think the first one that had like Superman and stuff. It wasn't Superman; it was called Action Comics, and then it featured these people, and then every edition had different storylines, and that's really where it came down to. That's how they snuck characters in,
and they spin them off,
and then they spin them off, and then like they might, because comics used to come out onto the point where like everyone waited that week for the next thing, not just like in the newspaper, but actually I'm talking like the book. And so probably what they did is they did editions. So they had like the Black Panther edition for 7 months, and then after the end they choose another superhero, and they do like 7 months of them. And so
yeah, I don't know anything. I don't even know how you would get involved with that at our age. Like, how would you? I don't know.
well, they do. They still do it the same way.
Do they really?
Yeah. You
But
can
there's
go. You can
there's
basically
TV
it's the
and stuff.
storyline. Well, yeah. It's just whoever enjoys a good story, man.
Yeah, reading is so overrated nowadays. That's why I watch movies.
Well, that's why people are so upset with these superhero movies, because they choose these plot lines that are not the best ones in the series.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with like X-Men and all them. Like they're like, come on, there's better plot lines in the whole, because there's different universes in the comic books. So they just kind of always choose the one that's more mainstream. They don't choose the ones that are really interesting and the reason why people like comic books.
Yeah, I'm sure they got focus groups full of unemployed people that are, doing thumbs up, thumbs down on which thing they should go for. So, well, good for them. All right.
Good for them.
Good for them. All right, we're going to go to our first break. We're going to come back. We're going to rewind. I got a couple movies to talk about very quickly, and then we're going to sit down. We're going to crack open, a cold one, and talk a little bit about me before
How about some wine?
Or,
A spritzer.
Yeah, we could get, a nice little Cabernet or something, and we're going to talk a little me before you. Connor and Dick here on the Ticket Stub.
Remember to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on your computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Hey everybody, back on the Ticket Stub. Connor and Dick here. We are going to spend some time in this segment rewinding movies that we've seen over the last 2 weeks this time, Dick, since we didn't have a show last week. Everybody remember that we are doing a giveaway at the end of the show. So if you want to go to the Ticket Stub Podcast on our Facebook, if you want to go to our Facebook page, Ticket Stub Podcast, you can enter for a chance to win 2 tickets to the Grand to see a movie of your choice, free money. You should go do it right now. Stop what you're doing. Get on Facebook. Go to our page, Ticket Stub Podcast. Answer the trivia question, and be entered to win. We're going to talk about a couple movies. We're going to spend most of our time just feasting on me before you. I've got 2 that I've been sitting on them, or one I've been sitting on that I do want to get out before I just totally forget to talk about it to everybody. It's a little different than what we normally do. It's a comedy special. 2017 release, came out a few weeks ago. A guy named Hassan Minhaj. It's called Homecoming King. Stand-up special. This is a guy I didn't know about. Dick, have you ever even heard of this guy, Hassan Minhaj? He is not. He came to prominence. He's on the Daily Show, which I used to watch, but now I don't have cable, so I don't watch it anymore. He was a correspondent on the Daily Show. He became popular. There was some clips you may have seen. He did the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year, so you may not know his name, but you may have seen some clips. That's how I first got introduced. It was the one that Trump didn't show up to. Anyways, I just want, if you like comedy, he's an immigrant, and so he talks a lot.
Well, let's not bring politics into this.
We got to keep this show, neutral. But he's an immigrant. He talks a lot about being an immigrant. It is maybe a little bit, I don't know, some people might not like it because he talks about, some of the racial issues in the country right now. But I think he does it in a pretty, respectful way. It's a lot about just treating each other as equals. It was funny, but it was heartfelt. It was one of those comedy specials that wasn't just like set up, punchline kind of a deal. It was more storytelling with a lot of humor, but also some heartfelt moments. And what I really appreciated, what I thought was really cool, was that they did a lot of cool camera stuff. Dick, you might appreciate that. They had a moving camera on the stage, like in his face, which would have been weird if you were in the audience to see a camera guy walking in front of him and stuff, but it made it really interesting for everybody, to watch it on Netflix now. So I thought it was really good. I would recommend people watching it and checking it out. It's not the normal kind of movie we talk about here, but it's on Netflix, and it's not even really the normal comedy special, I wouldn't say, or stand-up special, but really good. Hassan Minhaj, Homecoming King. Dick, you got anything to talk about? Any movies besides Me Before You?
Not really. I watched Commando for my birthday. That was really nice. That's a
Happy
great,
birthday to you,
a
man.
great flick, and I now own it, so I'm very excited about
Did
that.
someone give it to you for your birthday?
No, it was one of those situations where we're hanging out with buddies, and they really wanted to watch a movie. Like, what do you want to watch? And I was like, I could really go for Commando right now. And he didn't have it, so I was like, all right, well, it's one of those digital purchases that needs to be in my digital purchase area, and I purchased it.
Your digital purchase area?
Yeah.
Is that the technical? Is that what it?
Well, I mean, you just funny is when we were talking about owning movies, I used to buy DVDs all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And then right when the digital age came out, I kind of got to that point where everything's on streaming. Everything, like, I don't really buy movies anymore, but there's only certain movies that I want to watch over and over. And I've been faced with such scenarios of, I think I own now, my newest movies I've purchased are all the new Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit extended versions. And then I own John Wick, and then 50 Shades of Grey, and then now Commando. So
Five classics, man.
yeah, those are the
Five
top
instant-
movies.
Especially that 50 Shades.
And maybe I'm gonna get Me Before You. I mean, I don't know
Who
how
knows?
adventurous I'm feeling.
Who knows? I don't know. Well, I do want to say I did see Wonder Woman, which is out right now in theaters. You know, chicks are stupid, so that movie was terrible. No, I'm just kidding. But it's getting a lot of buzz for the leading female character in a superhero movie. I think that it was. Here's what I'll say. It was a good movie. I think it's being overreacted to a little bit because it is good, and so people are saying, "Oh, it's great." I think her character was awesome. I loved Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think the plot was kind of weak. So for me, that's where it's like maybe that's more of a script thing than like an actor, acting or directing or anything like that. But I don't know. I just felt like the whole time I didn't really care about the plot that was happening, and it spent like a lot of these superhero movies. They'll spend like 30 minutes at this origin story that doesn't apply at all to what's gonna happen later on in the movie, and this is totally guilty of that. There's a whole plot line that happens.
Well, there's a way to do it in the movie world, and there's a way to do it in the novel world. And with Wonder Woman, that was always that's why I like Deadpool. Is Deadpool did it well, where they kind of did the whole reverse thing, just kind of giving you snippets of how he became who he was, but then also the character development happened during that time. A lot of times with these new bigger movies, the bigger budget ones, they kind of just do the background information, but they don't give you any character depth.
No, it's just them becoming something.
It's like, here's a kid that this person represents, and she goes, "What am I, mommy?" And then it's like, "You're Wonder Woman," and boom, you're done.
Here's a girl that lives on an island full of man-haters, and
Yeah.
they sword fight for some reason. And also, I had a lot of questions about like the
See, that's what I'm
logistics.
saying. There's another world to the comic book world that no one can explain that, because that island,
It just exists.
it just exists. Similar to the Africa deal, it's
Yeah.
just going to exist. No one's ever found it.
Except for
and-
until he plane crash lands
Yeah.
onto the like, oops, and then here come the Germans.
And then somehow they're really strong.
They are very
and
strong.
They have this mystical equipment, and it doesn't make any. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, and then it's all about the whole time she's trying to find Ares, and anyways, the plot was weird. I didn't really like the plot. I wonder if they were hamstrung to that plot because that is kind of her origin story. Maybe I don't know from the comic book.
Well, it's hard to introduce those concepts to a world that's already been established for the past 15 years on movie screens.
Yeah.
And people are, I mean, that's the same universe as Batman or as Superman. And that kind of throws people off a little bit. And the Suicide Squad and those people, so.
What I'll say, but this was one of the better DC movies I would say that's come out because most of them have been pretty weak. I think she will be great whenever they all team up. Like when it's like a conglomerate kind of movie, she'll be a really good character for that because I think she's.
Well, they just need to take her and put it in the Marvel series.
Yeah, can they do that? Can they trade? Like have a draft?
Yeah. Well, did you see the trailer for the Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
That looks all right.
I think that'll be fun. Yeah,
So.
that'll be a good one. Although, at some point we've had like 4 origin stories, and they just have to keep telling the same story of the same kid over.
Well,
and
no, I bet what they'll do there is they'll actually focus on the origin story instead of doing a flashback. Like the whole plot will be him being 16 years old,
Okay.
and that's the whole movie.
But wasn't that the one with Tobey Maguire where he's like,
Yeah, you slowly go
he's
through it
taking
with him.
pictures,
Yeah.
and then the spider, and then he's
Yeah, but
trying
Tobey Maguire was like 25.
Well, that is true. And
So.
that movie was super boring. All right, Wonder Woman. See it in theaters. Definitely, it's what people are talking about. It's one of the big ones right now. Probably one of the bigger ones of the summer. So you want to see that. If you're also just a comedy person or you're sitting at home bored on Netflix, Hassan Minaj, Homecoming King. But without further ado, the greatest movie that Dick has ever seen. Probably one of his
We're
favorites.
building this up. I like it.
I know
It's
you like
great.
that. I'm really trying to milk this for everything. Me before you, Dick. I have many thoughts.
Okay, so this is a very exciting stuff because one of the goals here on the show is we try to go into movies that we would never see.
Yes.
Typically me, because I only have so much time to go see movies. I'm like, I'm not going to watch this stuff.
We're trying to act so busy all the time.
So,
I only have a little time. I'm so
okay,
busy.
yeah,
I'm an
true,
important
true.
man. I'm in meetings.
But what was great was we had the opportunity to see this movie. And when I first heard about it, I remember, I think I was reading something about 3 years ago. This movie came out last year in 2016. And I remember reading an announcement that this book was being turned into a movie.
Was this a Sparks one?
No. This was just a normal, I think a UK writer did it.
Just a normal, stupid book.
Well, they were talking about the reason it was the reason I was reading the article was how much it increased in sales because this was announced. And basically, they're riding that wave of those young women who pay attention to Twilight and to those other, and they're growing up. And they're now getting to that, what's the next book they're going to read at 18 and up? Because they used to read Twilight when they were 14. Now it's like the next thing. And so this was the next big movie. So it made a lot of, the book sales went way up. The box office of this movie, just to let people know, $207 million in the United States. This movie made that much money. So there's a following to this story.
Okay.
And I guess people, if you didn't have a chance to watch it, it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Yeah. So if you own Prime or have a friend, log in, watch this movie. I watched it with my girlfriend because I mean it was something I said like we need to talk about this movie.
Okay,
and how did you watch it? Did you watch it by yourself?
Yeah, I watched it at home.
Ooh, gross.
What?
At least when I was watching it with her, I could be like, oh god. Oh,
no, it was
God.
terrible. I watched this as you do homework, which is at the last minute. I watched it last night. I wasn't excited about it. Nothing about this movie appealed to me, and so I did it. I just carved out the hour 46.
Well, let me read the synopsis.
Go ahead,
if you don't mind. Young and quirky Louisa Lou Clark moves from one job to the next to help her family make ends meet. Her cheerful attitude is put to the test when she becomes a caregiver for Will Traynor, a wealthy young banker left paralyzed from an accident 2 years earlier. By the way, he got hit by a motorcycle. Will's cynical outlook starts to change when Louisa shows him that life is worth living. Not really. As their bond deepens, their lives and hearts change in ways neither one could have imagined. So you read that synopsis.
Yes.
And then you see the movie. So I knew what the movie was really about. It was about.
I just had seen the trailer that we watched on the show.
Well, the reason, because I saw the book, and basically the reason this book is one PSA for assisted suicide.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Can we just go ahead and?
Yeah. No. Who cares? So that's not a secret in the movie. That's not something that you find out. You find it out pretty early in the movie.
Yeah. Except for it's like a love story. So I'm like, oh, surely their love will convince him to not murder himself. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
He does. He goes to Switzerland. Spoiler alert, everyone. I don't care if I've ruined this movie for you for all time. I don't care. It's terrible. He kills himself in Switzerland by assisted suicide.
What's crazy about it is it puts you in a scenario that's a real scenario people face every day.
Kind of.
And there's that question. If you're a quadriplegic, they can't commit suicide, but they want to. Say they do. So that's the argument. But see, in this story, it doesn't do it justice in a sense of character development. Like, why does this guy want to kill himself besides he's a quadriplegic?
No, he's happy.
I literally just watched this dude fall in love with this woman, and then he clearly doesn't value her in the sense of living.
I feel like, I wrote this down, I feel like this was supposed to make me wrestle with deep truth about, quadriplegic suicide, but it didn't. It made me mad because he's the richest person in the world, apparently, so he can go anywhere all the time, wherever he wants. And yeah, at first his life sucked and it wasn't worth living. But like you said, him and her fall in love, and the other guy seems to be his friend.
You should read some of the comments people write on the internet about it, because some people are like, I'm disabled, and this movie basically says all disabled people should kill themselves because he's like, I like to live.
Because his whole thing is like, I'm not who I used to be.
Yeah.
So sorry, any old person who can't run or anything anymore, just go ahead and kill yourself.
I would imagine scenarios like this give a rebirth to these people. So you find out who you can be through your change.
I thought that's where it was going.
And no, actually, the person who got the biggest shaft, and this is was his helper, his
unemployed.
Well, no, not that. No, there's a scene in this movie. I kind of laughed about it. So this whole movie is her getting to know him, and it's a 6-month thing, which kind of bothered me. It was a 6-month timeline. because he told his parents, "I'm gonna give you 6 months. I'm going to change my mind." And so that's where it starts. They meet her.
So they hire the hot
They
chick to come.
hire the hot waitress, and they want her to change his mind. So she discovers this, and so she, being the brightful smile, whatever. By the way, never comment on a woman's looks in a movie while watching with your girlfriend. Don't ever do it.
Did you say she was good looking?
I said something about I liked her hair because she put it in a braid, and it was nice.
How dare
and,
you?
Just
how dare
don't
you?
do it. And well, moving on from that, so basically you have a
Why don't you just go be with her then, Dick? I mean, if you like her braid so much, just go.
Well, this is where it gets to it. So that she comes up, this lady, the main character, comes with all these cool trips, and you see her trials and tribulations of trying to make him happy and all this great stuff. Well, there's a scene where they go to the Bahamas or they go somewhere with a beach.
Yeah, pretty baller.
And they take the I
Like
don't know,
the
the
medical
physical
guy.
medical guy, the
Yeah.
physical therapist, the guy who actually does all the heavy lifting, to move this guy around because he's literally wheelchair bound, can only move his fingers and his mouth. And so they go on this really nice vacation time, and this dude, if you notice, is subtle. He totally hooks up
He
with
does.
some random stranger. So because you see in the montage of he's helping somebody out, and I think it starts with he's paddleboarding,
Yeah.
and the two main characters are watching this trainer paddleboard with this attractive female.
At first, I didn't even realize that was the trainer at first because I was like, "Well, who's that chick?"
Yeah,
And,
and so in the next scene, you see them having drinks at the pool, and you see in the background the trainer walking with the girl. And then the final scene is like the split up at the night because it's like the first time they're gonna be alone. And then the trainer walks up with this girl holding hands. He's like, "Well, do you need help? Later tonight?" And the main character looks at Emil Clark or whatever, says, "No, I think we got it." And then of course they walk off together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so this guy, good for him. He's on vacation / working. And then the next morning they had a fight the night before, the main couple. So this dude wakes up probably happy as it can be. Had this wonderful day, this night with this random stranger. That's what his happiness. And he walks up and these two people are arguing, and it's like, let's get out of here as fast as possible. This is crap. Let's go. And of course he has to help because that's his job. So they just ruined his whole weekend.
Maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe that was like the perfect way out that he wanted, though. He paddleboarded. He met the beautiful girl, hung out with her that evening. Then he gets to go home with. And how could the girl be mad? Oh, sorry, I have to go help my crippled boss. Sorry. Like that's a pretty good excuse. I think a lot of guys trying to get out of dates have a lot worse excuses than that. Like, sorry, my quadriplegic boss needs me to come help him out a little bit.
Well, I think that was because you can make a couple little movie with this interaction between the
Sequel,
yeah.
spinoff. We need whatever that dude's name
You
was.
Before Me.
I don't even. Yeah, exactly.
but no-
Okay, couple things.
Well, I want to
Go
let you
ahead.
know. I just got a text.
Okay.
I'm lying. It wasn't just the hair. I said she had a nice smile,
Oh. Okay.
and that was because
All right.
that was because I commented on. I've only seen her as that dragon lady,
Yeah, Khaleesi.
and she never smiles in that show.
Not much. Yeah.
No,
She's
like
got, a snarl.
never like this. And I was like, oh, she actually has a nice smile.
Yeah, she was like bubbly in this one.
yeah. So it was a little weird, and it was different. And I was like, so there you
Which-
go.
I'm a big Game of Thrones guy. Weird to see her with her natural brown hair because she has like the weird blonde hair all the time in Game of Thrones. Did this bother you? Her name is Amelia Clark, and in the movie, her last name was Clark. Whatever.
I mean, either
Lu-
the writer has an obsession or it's just a coincidence, man.
Just change it. If you're like in a movie, like if I'm Connor Halstead and I'm getting cast in a movie and the guy's name is Scott Halstead, just change it to it like Scott.
No, that's changing the source material, man. You do not change source material. You
Well, then
won't
don't
make,
hire
you
Amelia
won't,
Clark.
You won't make $207 million.
Because then the whole time he called her Clark.
Clark.
Hey, Clark. Like that was like their cute little like pet name for her or whatever, which was just her last name said in his annoying British accent.
But really, you're right about the whole timeline. You're sitting there going like, yeah, this guy,
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
is really positive, and then one thing it does show is this woman is an idiot
Yes.
because she falls for it, and then she immediately gets over it. 6 months, like boom. I mean, I would get it. I would get this movie if it was over like a 2-year process. Because that's a real that's real feeling, and like this thing has been on his mind for 2 years and he hasn't told her, and then finally he wants to do it. I mean, that's a real conflict right there. Like they love each other, but he's literally saying, you know what, I love each other, but I love something else more, and that's me being dead. And
The sweet release of death. I love that more than I love
because like
you.
to me that would be a huge ending. I'd be like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. But in this movie, it's like, oh, you got 6 months, mom and dad will hire a pretty waitress, and her character to me, she easily falls in love with people because she had a boyfriend in this movie,
He was oh god.
and he's the Harry Potter guy.
Yeah, one of the Weasleys or something.
Something like that. I was really surprised that was him, by the way. But the way they showed their relationship, it's like she wasn't even in a relationship with because he said 7 years. When he goes, "We've been dating for 7 years," I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
They have
7 years with this woman? Like, how would you even deal with that?
How about with this guy? Like, the character development here was so terrible. The boyfriend, the crippled guy, Will Traynor. Sorry, that's probably offensive. Will Traynor tells her, like, shows her the world of lip dub movies, and now all of a sudden she loves lip dub movies. And she goes to her boyfriend, who's like this idiot fitness guy, and they're at the movies, and she's like, "Oh, what if we see this movie?" And he's like, "Oh, we don't speak Spanish.
So why would we watch subtitles?
2 tickets to the Will Ferrell, please." Like, they don't even say a name of a movie. He just says, like what? Like, first off, that's bad writing, in my opinion.
Well, it's almost like they wanted to create that change in her life that she's moving on, especially the breakup scene. Because when we come back, I want
Are we coming back to this? Because I got some more stuff.
we gotta keep talking about it.
Okay.
This breakup scene. I had to ask my beautiful girlfriend, was that a breakup? Because it didn't say like we're finished.
No, then she's just kissing him a minute later.
Like I didn't really get it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
did. I was like, that's not.
We'll come back because I got more. All right, back on the
You're
ticket
listening.
stuff.
Listening to Ticket Stub.
I'm flustered. I'm sorry.
We're gonna watch another movie like this. This is great. We'll be back.
Relax with a cup of joe or your favorite drink for the Conroe Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce Chamber Chat. The show airs on the first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio. Join hosts Courtney Galley and Brian Bondi as they chat about the Chamber's events and programs for the month and invite Chamber members into the studio to talk about their upcoming events and businesses. Learn about your Chamber with Chamber Chat every first Tuesday at 11 a.m.
A Lone Star Community Radio is ready for the summer. If you or anyone you know is looking for summer internship opportunities, a Lone Star Community Radio is a great place to grab the mic and be on the air. A Lone Star Community Radio offers a great opportunity to those interested in learning about the radio world all year round. Be an on-air personality, talk show producer, or YouTube, TV, podcast editor. Contact the station at info@irlonestar.com or call the station's message line at 936-647-3776.
All right, back on the ticket stub. Connor and Dick.
Oh, the things I would do to you, Clark.
The things I would do to you, Clark. Gosh, so creepy and weird as they wheelchair dance around the wedding. There's a lot to unpack here with Me Before You. We spent a little time. We've got a few more thoughts. Dick,
Well, really, that breakup scene confused me.
it wasn't much of a.
It wasn't
just to
'cause-
throw 7 years of a relationship
Because
away.
we weren't even introduced to the 7-year idea until that conversation.
I don't think so, or I don't remember.
Yeah, and it was like when he threw that out there, I was like, man, this girl has like the worst boyfriend, or she's the worst girlfriend.
Yeah,
And-
she is a terrible girlfriend. Like, I get that
Yeah.
he's an idiot and like she doesn't care about running and that's all he cares about. But come on though, like for some reason you've been dating him for 7 years. How about you respect him enough to like hang out with him every now and then and not just walk away and start instantly making out with the other dude?
This movie reminds me so much of like the old movies about dudes who win everything. Because think about her scenario. She gets a job. She meets a guy who is very interesting, but he's paraplegic, so she has the giving heart. And then he chooses.
She breaks down his walls. Don't forget that.
She breaks down his walls, so she does the womanly thing, and so she's fulfilled in that department. And worst thing is now she gets to move on scot-free. He kills himself, so she didn't have to worry about him anymore. And not even on that, cherry on the top, the end of the movie, he gives her money.
Yeah.
And it's like
Not enough to never work again though, Dick.
Yeah, but just enough to
To be
start
free.
to be
To be free. Okay, here's how you know.
to be free. Oh, the things I would do.
Oh gosh, there's so many places
Wouldn't
where
that
it's
be
like,
great if there's an unrated version?
oh gosh, I don't know that it'd be any different. He's paralyzed from the neck down. I don't know what would happen differently, but anyways, there's.
Oh,
some,
you're getting me too much imagery here.
yeah, sorry, that was too far. There's some parts where, you know,
This movie's great.
it's great. Like it's just so obvious that it was written by a woman with no consulting male source at all in the
I
writing.
don't think she even consulted a paraplegic
Oh,
or a
no,
quadriplegic.
definitely not either. Or maybe like she met one time or something and it inspired her. But the part where I instantly knew this was written by only a woman, and I just can't relate to the mind space of this movie when he's like, "Oh, my favorite place in the world. It's a nice French cafe in a square, sipping a macchiato as the bicyclist or whatever he
Yeah.
says." I'm like, what? Okay, your favorite place in the world is some like random little spot where you're drinking coffee, sitting on the porch, I don't know.
Well, another weird thing too is the old girlfriend coming into one scene, and she basically there's a scene opening scene like Emil Clark's just now starting her job, and she's sitting there and she's having two guests. Like the mom comes and goes, "He's gonna have two guests today," and just to let you know, and because basically her job is literally to sit there and wait until he needs something.
Yeah,
And
just to hang out.
Just to hang out. And so we find out his ex girlfriend is marrying his best friend.
Rough.
And I was like, man, that sucks. So he asked them to leave because he's upset. And they haven't come to see him in a while. So that was clearly stated. And the weirdest thing was the next, like, 30 minutes later in the movie, he gets invited to the wedding. And I'm like, why on earth would anyone go to that wedding? They're not friends anymore.
No.
They made it clear that they haven't seen him in a long time. And then the first thing they say to him after a long time, "Oh, hey, by the way, we hooked up through you being disabled, basically."
Yeah, thanks for your misfortune because it
Yeah.
really brought us together. Then they go to the wedding. Then there's the awkward scene where which is such an unrealistic, the bride has all this free time just to walk up all by herself and to the dude, and she's like, "Thank you for coming." It really means that would be the most awkward interaction in the
Yeah.
the whole thing. I don't know, the wedding. You wouldn't go to that wedding.
One of my favorite scene is she was drinking some cocktail. She didn't know it was a cocktail. And this, typical grandma who's the drunk aunt is like, "Oh, that has alcohol in it." And she's like, "What? I'm driving later." And then, of course, she keeps drinking.
Well, and you can't. I don't know what kind of must have been pretty well made or whatever to not, or she doesn't know what alcohol tastes like,
Yeah.
or the Stephen Hawking impression at their first meetup. I don't want to go too far without
Because
mentioning
that was nice.
That seems, gosh, not only offensive to, well, maybe it's offensive that I'm calling it Stephen Hawking impression, but not only offensive to like some sort of, but basically she walks in for the first time and he starts like
He's
screaming
acting
and moaning,
extremely disabled.
extremely disabled. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding."
Well, one thing I like
I'm
about
not that
movies like
disabled
that.
yet.
Well, one thing I love about these movies like this is when there's a drastic change between a character, and he keeps focusing on who he used to be. And I'm like, man, if you were who you used to be, you wouldn't even talk to this chick. You'd be like, continue being the prick that you
Well,
are.
she says that at one point. She's like, if you weren't disabled, you would never have talked to me, hung out with me. I'd be serving the food." That was at least
And that's probably the truth.
yeah,
And
a moment of clarity amidst all the ridiculous.
yeah, and that's probably why he decided to end his life. But
Oh gosh. Also, I did write down. This became like the crippled bucket list at one point, where like they're just sightseeing all the different places. It was kind of cool to see some of the great places they went. The beach, they got to go on some cool adventures and everything.
well, hold on, we got Stephanie here. Oh, she hasn't seen the movie, so we can't. We have an intern here. I wanted to get women's insight because I feel like we're sounding insensitive saying these
Oh, I'm
things.
sure I sound terrible.
But I mean, if you saw the movie, you really have to take it as a point of view of like this person clearly has struggles in his life because he has a drastic change. He got hit by a motorcycle, and somehow that caused him to be paralyzed. And one thing I've learned through my girlfriend, who is extremely smart, extremely beautiful, and probably the best person and my best friend.
Her hair and her smile aren't quite the same as Amelia Clark. But
She told me that the conditions people face when they hurt their spine almost, I don't know if I'm saying this right, are almost not recoverable at all. So there really is no, and they kind of touched on that in the hospital scene where the main character first learns about his condition where you can't recover from it. So it's there. And that really needs to be in people's minds because the research for those kind of damages to your spine need to be happening because this stuff is irreversible. And you would think with the progression of medicine these days, it wouldn't be permanent, but it is.
I think there's probably with this plot line there could be a good story to be told, but it was not told in Me Before You. Instead, it was ridiculous and
there's
sad
a similar
and
movie,
sappy.
a similar Spanish movie in subtitles that that boyfriend would hate. It's called The Sea Inside, and Javier Bardem was in it. And it's a very similar story where he gets injured when he's young, and he dives into rocks and neck, boom, done. But he's grown, he's had a life, and he's getting older. And basically, he wants to commit suicide through assisted suicide. But he basically, the whole movie is about his life and how he sees that he's lived his life to the fullest because now he's probably around like 50, 60 years old, and he's just there, and he's like, I fell in love, children, I've done it, but now I'm ready to go on to the next step, or the next step in life. But it's like this dude, I think it was 2 years, and he's given up, and I think that gives everyone no hope. That movie had no hope.
No,
and
if you really like Ed Sheeran, you'll like this movie though, because I think he's got 6 or 7 songs featured in the soundtrack. I don't know if they just like they're like, oh, I like this CD, let's just put all of these songs on here. But that was probably one of the better things, was that Ed Sheeran's okay, and there was several of his songs.
But this movie had a great opportunity to be a great, soundboard to help people, and especially with suicide, and also with the medical condition of being a quadriplegic, because there is rehabilitations, there are things, there are hopeful things, and they almost needed to have this movie just go to black. You don't need to say what happened. You just kind of interpret it yourself. Because I know the book might say it, but the movie reaches a better audience, and it was a depressing ending.
No, terrible.
And
this movie has nothing for me. I saw it.
Like, can you imagine meeting this woman? Like, you're the next boyfriend, right?
Oh gosh.
And you find out that she had this interest. And to me, right when I hear, like, oh, you really fell in love with a quadriplegic. Well, that's amazing. Like, what was he like? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, she goes, oh, he committed suicide. You're like, but you connect the dots. Like, how did he do that? And so, I mean, that's real personal, and that's crazy. And
yeah, there's some baggage to be unpacked for poor Clark. She's gonna need a little counseling, I think, or something.
He never got to do the things he wanted to do to her.
Oh gosh. All right, let's
move on. That was great.
Yeah, let's tie. We'll tie a little bow around Me Before You.
At the end, Me Before You, would you say you recommend the movie or not?
No. I would recommend it if you like really bad movies, or if you like stupid love movies, or if you like movies that make you really upset with the way they end because it's really depressing and sad. If you like those kind of movies.
But see, this isn't that kind of movie, though. That isn't like going to a drama knowing it's about some horrible topic. Like that.
I know, it's even worse than that.
The trailer totally
I know
tricks you.
Because I can't have a soft spot for sappy love kind of movies.
Yeah.
I can. It's always like setting myself up like to be like, oh, love is going to overcome, all disability and anything else, and it doesn't. He kills himself. He literally, and then they try to have this like climactic like scene of love at the end, and I thought maybe he wasn't going to do it even still, but he had already like injected the stuff or whatever, and she was there with him as he dies. Whatever, give me a break.
No, that was even the conflict. Remember that short 4-minute of like, oh, I hate you. They can't believe you want to do something like this. And she leaves, and she has a beer with her sister, and she's like, what do I do? And then, of course, her personality, she has a attention span of a dog, and it's like, boom, oh, I'm going to go back to him. I'm gonna be there. And then...
I don't know.
One thing they didn't go through, and I was trying to wonder, is there was a scene where and I didn't know this about paralyzed people, is their bodies work in a different way of like if they're going through an infection or if they're sick, there's different, you can't immediately tell because they don't know, they can't really feel, if that makes sense. And there was a scene where he was having a fever or something was going on, and so they had to undress him, and he has scars all on his wrists.
I saw that.
And they didn't go into to me, I immediately go, how the heck did he even accomplish that?
That's a good point.
And they didn't really talk about it. They did talk about he attempted, but it was like, I'm like, come on, there's got to be, how did he do it? Did he break something and just kind of like moved his head around to wiggle his body? Like because it was a substantial scar. Like I'm talking 8 inches long down his wrist. And I was like, how did that happen? Because that means someone had to do it for him.
Yeah.
What he should have done, if he was smart and he really wanted to achieve his dreams, he should have gotten those 2 friends of his.
Go wheel into a pool.
Like his 2 friends of his, because they hated him. I mean, they could say, "Oh, we love you, we invite you to our wedding," but come on, they hooked up, totally left him be, and like they're not good friends. So that's the people that he should have contacted and be like, I need some help.
Just wheel yourself into the sea, man.
To make up for how much.
That's a romantic way to go, right? Let the ocean take you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This movie was great. I would recommend it to anybody and everybody. Spend the time having a good laugh. I had some good laughs to it. But then again, word of the wise, don't make comments about the opposite sex or don't show any interest in anybody else.
Also, be careful not to make too much fun of handicapped because that's insensitive.
Well, they made fun of it in the movie, so
that's true. That's true. They started it. All right, Dick. We're just gonna spend a couple minutes here. I wanted to talk about some some hardcore leading ladies in movies.
Well, not this woman.
Clark is not hardcore. She's kind of the opposite of that. But in honor of Wonder Woman, I was just thinking about other leading ladies that were really, Wonder Woman's a pretty hardcore leading lady. The whole movie they're trying to protect her because she's a girl, and this is like World War I time. And then she's like, "Nah, I'm not too worried about that. I'll go, fight everybody by myself." So, Dick, who were a couple, thinking about that, who were a couple hardcore leading ladies that you could think of? Just thinking about movie history.
This is when the men's mind comes to question them, because this is one thing I wish Stephanie would known about this so she can prepare. Because a woman's idea of what a strong woman is different from what a man's idea is what a strong woman is.
Okay.
I would say, like, if we're looking for toughness, it would be Sarah Connor from Terminator. Like,
definitely.
to me, that was a very strong character. She put up with a lot of stuff, and the actress Linda Hamilton was fantastic in it. I have two movies that are kind of not chick flicks, but they're kind of unknown movies. There's a movie called When a Woman Ascends the Stairs. It's a Japanese film from like the 60s. I want to say
it's a prequel
60s.
to the Yip Man.
No, it's not. It's actually about a geisha, or a lower end geisha, where she's basically a entertainer and she's getting older, and basically suitors are suing after her. But in Japan had different society rules back then, and so it was a really interesting movie. I would encourage people, if they want to do a little Japanese film, they want to get that niche, black and white. It's a really good character development movie, and plus the main actress, she's a widow, by the way, in the movie, so it's about her finding another suitor while being basically a club host. And it's really interesting to see that development of her and who she chooses and how life is expected of a female back then. So she's a very strong female that I liked in the movie. It's called When a Woman Ascends the Stairs. Another movie I really liked is A Very Long Engagement. That kind of had a fairy tale storytelling to it. Plus, the main character, Mathilde, is really kind of fun, and she has polio, and it's just. But then again, it's not a realistic movie. It's kind of, I don't know.
What's hardcore about her?
It goes through her search for this boy, and it's just kind of it's a nice movie about a female who puts up with a lot of stuff and goes and does it, and she does it like a lady. So.
Okay, so you're kind of focused on like her emotional hardcoreness.
Yeah. Well, I try to do a spectrum because it's unfair to be like Linda Hamilton, dude, Terminator all the way.
Yeah.
Because that's just a bad A chick. Like, there are some great scenes with her punching people and taking care of business.
Yeah. So I have a few here. One that this is a chance to talk about this movie that we maybe wouldn't talk about otherwise. You ever see the movie Sucker Punch, Dick?
No. Hold on. Is that the movie with Zack Snyder?
It's a Zack Snyder movie, and it's got
That's a creepy movie. Where are you going with this?
Well, the main girl, her name is Baby Doll in the movie. It's a weird movie, but it's like kind of it's very fantasy oriented, I guess. But there's several scenes where they end up like in these kind of alternate universes, like fighting giant monsters and stuff like that. And she's got a samurai sword, and she does work. Like it's all a lot of it. You end up realizing maybe is different than what we're watching on screen. But it's a really weird movie. I saw it and really liked it. A lot of my friends who saw it thought it was super stupid. So it kind of
I don't like it.
I think it's got like a definite polarizing effect on people. But she was definitely pretty hardcore. And it's funny because her name is Baby Doll, and they kind of the way they dress her and do makeup and everything is to look like a little like a sweet little kind of scared girl.
The main issue with that movie though is everything's made up.
Yeah.
So that's not really like that's her wishing to be that character. So it's not really her doing this.
Well, let me pull a dick move here. But she's in an insane asylum, and the strength that it takes to overcome the obstacles.
I agree. No,
that
the
she
topic
faces
of that
there,
movie. I can't believe you mentioned that movie. That movie's got a weird topic to it.
It's super weird. No, it's totally weird. But it's also got is that Oscar Isaac? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like
He's the creepo.
Yeah, he's the total creepo. Another one, Trinity from The Matrix.
Yes.
Love Trinity from The Matrix. And then Hit Girl from a little
That's
kick,
a story of adolescence right there.
little kick butt, little kick booty, and a Hit Girl. When she first came out and started doing her thing, the first time I saw that movie, I was.
Well, she even gets better in the sequel.
I know, yeah.
She puts people in their places, especially her little crush, which is great.
She's so awesome. I love her so much. She has that little staff with the blades on it and stuff. She's hardcore.
Again, this is the guy's perspective. I'm telling you, we're
okay, I did
we
the girl's
gotta
perspective
we
with
gotta
you.
redeem ourselves next episode
With what?
because we just sound
So
so
we sound-
mean.
I
And
wonder what percentage of our listeners are female. Probably.
well, we Stubettes don't go away.
If there was a percentage, it's definitely shrunk after today.
There are some good movies that are female centric that we're going to talk about, but chick flicks kind of take me out of.
This might show my sexism, though. I thought doing hardcore leading ladies would empower women. Talking about these girls.
Inadvertently, we've shown that that's how we see women, but how women see themselves as being strong. So that's why I chose those three movies because I was like, they're facing different troubles, but one uses physical strength, one uses emotional strength, and the other one uses. I guess the best way I could say what it all encompasses of what a lady is. Because the Wonder Woman, since theirs really just encompasses what a lady is.
When I think of true strength, I think of that movie Amour from a few years ago. Was that the French old people that had Alzheimer's or whatever? That's the true picture of strength.
Well, not The Notebook. Definitely not The Notebook.
I've never seen The Notebook. I pretty much know about it.
We just got a listener who wrote in. She said "Baby" from The Devil's Rejects. So I bet that's pretty wild.
What is The Devil's Reject?
That's the Rob Zombie film.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't know it. Is it a real movie?
Oh man, if you want to see something wild, you ever seen a Rob Zombie film before?
No.
House of a Thousand Corpses?
No, I never have.
He's a weird dude.
Maybe that'll be a punishment movie for the next time I lose something.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie. All right. Well, we're gonna just power through here. We're gonna summer blockbuster. Not a lot to update. Wonder Woman in the heavyweight. We've been tracking this all summer, looking at how the movies compare against each other at the box office. Guardians of the Galaxy still reigning supreme. Opening weekend. $146.5 million. Wonder Woman gave it a run though, Dick. $103 million this week, opening weekend for Wonder Woman.
I wonder if it's gonna beat
You wonder.
Me Before You. $207 million.
I'm gonna say the fact that it did 103 opening weekend. I think Wonder Woman's probably.
It's on its way, but it hasn't happened yet.
Right now. Me Before You is a more successful movie than Wonder Woman as of today.
Yeah.
And then The Mummy, really kind of sad, 31.7 million. Sorry, Tom.
I saw that coming.
Sorry, Tom. The Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't help that. Next week, there's a couple big movies coming out. 47 Meters Down, Shark Attack. Be careful. Don't go in a cage. Don't go shark diving when the cage is suspended by a rope. Use chain or metal.
Or don't go into the water with a bunch of great white sharks
that for some reason want to eat you. I don't know why these sharks are so mad. Also, Cars 3. I'm calling that heavyweight. That's going to be a heavyweight movie, probably.
Yeah.
Cars 3.
No one's going to go see. No, I was kidding. Actually, that's a perfect time for a kids movie.
Yeah.
What other kids movie? Underpants. Oh man, that's a really good competition for.
I think
Pixar film.
Cars is going to be big. And then Lightweight, Snatched was holding it at 19.5 million. Captain Underpants, we called that one lightweight. It did 23.8 million. And then Rough Night, that's that comedy. Looks like the girls hangover kind of movie.
Oh yeah, that did come out.
It's coming out, and so we'll see. That might be okay. I don't know. Again, I'm just gonna hold this sexism line. This whole.
We're in trouble.
This
I'm
whole
already
episode.
telling you.
This whole episode.
I'm gonna get a phone call. Stephanie's disgusted with us.
She is. Yeah. Her smile. Her smile has turned into a
we have no
serious
idea
frown.
what we're talking about.
No, we do not.
But seriously, Me Before You, go check it out. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, then you can listen back to this episode and laugh along with us as we say everything. As far as we did have a ticket giveaway, movie tickets to the Grand. The question was in 2005, kind of following the Wonder Woman theme, what actress was offered the chance to play the lead role in a Wonder Woman movie but declined, and then in 2015 was considered to direct? Dick, did you look this one up, or do you know the answer?
No.
Do you have a guess?
No, you're the one in charge of the question.
Oh no, but do you have a guess? I know the answer. In 2005, she was offered to play Wonder Woman, then in 2015 offered to direct Wonder Woman.
Oh, Angelina Jolie.
Correct. Angelina Jolie. That's right. Because in 2005 she was still kind of a hot action star.
That was Tomb Raider days, man.
I know those were the days. And
that movie's really good. The Things I Would Do to You,
Laura. But
actually, I think that line was even said in the movie.
No, it can't be. Wait, was Me Before You just a sequel to or a prequel to the Tomb Raider? Does she take the money that she gets?
I think
from
that's
the
her
guy?
son. That's her son.
No, she takes the money that the guy gives her, and she goes and buys that castle and learns how to fight.
She becomes
the Tomb Raider. I don't think that's what happens, but our winner.
Can you imagine that bubbly? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she
that'd
gets
be great.
cynical after her boyfriend commits suicide. But our winner for the free.
Would you even call her a boyfriend? They liked each other for 2 weeks.
You're right. Not strong enough of a word. Soulmate.
it wasn't even strong enough of a relationship. He ended his life.
Yeah. They were talking. That's what kids nowadays would
that
say.
movie's great.
They were just talking.
That movie's great.
All right, well, our winner for the movie ticket giveaway is Kelly Wogamuth. She entered in, won the tickets, so we'll make sure we get those to you, Kelly. Thanks for playing along. Next week, hey, I've got us lined up. Interview with my buddy Nick Howard. He is a special effects worker on several movies.
Yeah.
It's actually lined up now, so we'll be talking to him next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go check out Me Before You and then listen back to that part. I think it'll mean a lot more once you've seen it.
I can't wait till we do another movie like that.
All right, we'll have to find another one to do like that because that was kind of fun. But anyway, stick with us. We'll be back next week live every Thursday. IR Lone Star Radio, Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1. Connor and Dick, thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next week. Thanks for listening to The Ticket Stub. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at The Ticket Stub Podcast, our YouTube channel, The Ticket Stub, or send us listener email to theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We also have all of our podcasts available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. If you're in the Conroe area, be sure to tune in live every Thursday at 104.5 and 106.1 FM to hear it as it happens and interact live with the show. See you next time.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.